Hello. Allow me a few minutes to share a story of one of the unsung heroes of our time who broke racial, cultural, financial, and gender inequality barriers to leave behind an unmatched legacy. We celebrate someone that taught me to never judge anyone with a simple example. An accident happens at an intersection. The witnesses around the intersection would have a different account of the event seen from their angle viewed. Moral of the story is never write off anyone and always give someone a chance because there's always two sides to the coin. This amazing individual was always available to help any student in her 40 years, sacrificing her own time and never accepting any compensation. She was driven mainly by her unique love for Will. No, not him. The OG Will. Many of these students are industry leaders in their respective fields and make decisions that influence and impact the lives of millions of South Africans today. She also taught me that the moral and ethical road can often be a lonely one. Always invest in people because the ripple effect goes forever, and that's the reward. I was taught the best gift you can give someone is an education. Give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Actually, I didn't believe that I would even finish schooling because we didn't have the financial means for it. And so my dad, being a very good-hearted man, felt that there was no need for girls to be educated. For financial reasons, it was better for a girl to be married off as early as possible. So at the end of Standard 8, there were suitors who came home, and I refused to accept the proposal. And I enlisted the assistance of my pastor, Pastor Chris Neyman, to coerce my father into having me return to school. It wasn't a very good feeling when at the beginning of matric, all my friends were walking past my house and going to school, and I was sitting at home waiting for the pastor to impress my dad that I needed to go to school. There was no finances to go to university. So Dad said, now that you've got your way and finished matric, you will have to go and work if you don't want to get married. I managed to get the old newspapers from a neighbor, and I would look in the classifieds for anyone who has a loan to offer. I got a reply from Roodepoort Bursary Trust, and they undertook to pay for my university fees, and at the end of my degree, I could then pay them back without interest. It was the 25th of January, 1979, that I decided that I needed some money to pay for my UNISA fees for an LLB degree, and I had not a cent in my pocket. I managed to get to the Department of Education offices in Stanger Street. When I got into the offices, I simply asked, I'm looking for a job. Is there any job I could have? And he said that they were actually looking for a matric English teacher at Westcliff Secondary in the year 1994, and I was appointed head of languages at Northlands Girls High School as the first person of color in KwaZulu-Natal in a management position. It wasn't an easy road back in the day because I walked into my first committee meeting, and in a staff of 60 educators, I was the only one with a dark complexion. I was the only non-English by birth, speaking to 11 English-speaking people and telling them how to teach English. So breaking ground for me was very difficult. It was a little bit intimidating when I was the head of department telling English people how to speak English and teach English. But I had a huge difficulty of non-acceptance by Indian parents because they were paying a huge fee to send their children to ex-Model C schools and to tell their families, my child goes to a white school and we got white teachers, and now you get a teacher who's coming from the township and he's teaching my child work through, which for me was a huge surprise. I wasn't expecting retaliation in that direction. But I thank God that all of this happened in the 90s when we didn't have social media. In the year 1999, when I was appointed principal at Redstone Primary, I had to attend a ward meeting of 30 principals. I was surprised to find that I was only the second woman appointed woman principal. Over the years, changes did not happen. 20 years later, when I leave, in the Phoenix Central Circuit to which I belong, there are 30 principals, 8 are women, and the rest being male. I have utmost respect for all my male colleagues, but it saddens me to no end that in 20 years, I really didn't see a huge change. At the top of my list, I will miss the children. Every day when they are dismissed, I stand at the gate and they hug me, each one. In the mornings when they come into school, I stand at the gate and receive each one. Every child in my school has been my child. Every break in my 20 years, I've stood on the podium and I've hugged every child that came to me. I will miss them. I'll miss the parents that I worked with. I'll miss my staff. Sometimes it was difficult getting them to toe the line, but sometimes they showered me with love and I will miss them. I will miss all my friends that I've made in my 40 years. But there's a new journey and there'll be more friends to make, and I'm sure that will be very exciting.
This amazing strong woman has been called many names in her lifetime. Nesta, Dr. Joseph, Mrs., Miss, NVJ, Ma'am. But I've had the extreme privilege of calling her Mum. Happy retirement, Mum.